Well, Renesa's mantra interchange, and driving around, running a few errands, heading up to look after my parents, and doing the usual day-to-day activities. And things are going well, and hopefully there's a few things that are going to be taken off. I wanted to talk a little bit about leadership, management, and how people learn to be effective and less effective, especially with young people in the work environments, in their daily lives, and how they go about things. Effective leadership and management is partly to do with who you are as a person, but even more so how you learn from life's lessons, who you learn from, and how you apply those lessons. And my housemate and I were talking about this, Neiman and I were talking about this, and we were talking about how a lot of young people in management today, they have this sense of authority, and they think it's about telling people what to do. And when people get things wrong, they send out these generic emails, they send out all these things, and they say, oh, you need to be doing this, this, and this, and this, whatever task it might be. And they try to clump things together, clump people together, and they wonder why things aren't being done effectively. And in short, you have a ghastly mess, to say the least. So I thought I would get on here, talk about effective leadership, talk about effective management, and how that can lead to a better team, better output, and a better reputation for the company. So first and foremost is a willingness to lead from the front. Any leader, any manager, anybody who's worth the salt will have worked from the bottom up. They will have learnt from other people, and they will have learnt various tactics or strategies on how to manage. And ideally, what should happen is, when you take a management position and you identify a problem, you identify perhaps something that isn't quite right, a good leader and a manager should sit down with that person and say, hey, do you get everything that you should be doing in your role? Identify what they're going wrong, work out how they can help to improve that situation, and work with that person and say, look, perhaps if you do it this way or this way. I will say, this does come with also years of experience. You don't just suddenly spring into action and develop those skills and, create those skills, so to speak. It takes a few years to develop that sort of skill to get people on the right track. An awful lot of times, a lot of young people or people who are new to an industry or a workplace that come in, they have this thing of like, I have my style of leadership, this is how I'm going to do it, and if people don't get on board, then that's their problem, not mine, which of course is a completely wrong attitude to have. And I've met people like that, and quite frankly, the team morale goes down, people complain, people work against that, And in short, you are royally screwed. So if I can give a bit of advice, being in a management position and having been in and making a few mistakes myself, I'm going to come up with a few ideas, especially for the young people or new people who are new into management. I've come up with a few thoughts on how to be an effective manager, and I'm going to share an experience with you on this. Number one, when you come into a company, you'll probably start in a non-leadership or non-management role. Okay, or if you're lucky enough and you come in and you do get to be a manager straight off, and you're in a new company with new people, first off, find a mentor. Find someone who has been there, who knows the company, knows the right way of doing things, and has a good working knowledge of that company and what the target should be. It's imperative to know this, and the reason is, if you find this mentor who knows what things should be done, who knows little tricks, little techniques to getting things done, you'll learn how to get things done effectively. You'll learn to do the job, and you will learn how to get things done and how to lead people. They will know they will know what other people are like, and they will guide you and they will help you. Find a mentor. Learn from them. Be invested in other people's success. All too often you'll find that, like I said, you'll have some new managers, things go wrong, they'll send a generic email out and they'll say, oh, this person's doing this, this and this. Just remember to do all this. And they don't take any sort of action to try and rectify the situation. That gets a lot of people's backs up. And it's happened with me. I've had that a couple of times, and I've pinged one back and saying, listen, if something needs to be sorted with that person. How I did it, and how I became a head doorman, was I stood back, did what the others asked me to do, clarified with what they wanted to do, I learned from them, and even these guys who were like 20 years my junior, I learnt from them, I respected them for what they knew, and I followed their lead. Until it was time for me to kind of go, right, I know how to do this, I'll step up a little bit. And eventually, I became head doorman, and am an interim head doorman at my local, the place where I am now, before we get a full-time head doorman in. And all likelihood is I will become a mentor for them, to help them to move into their position and become a successful head doorman themselves. Identifying the needs of the people, identifying perhaps when somebody is having a hard time, and again, I'll share a story with you. I was a head doorman at one of the bars where I was at, and the head doorman at the other bar, same security company, was of the opinion, you will do what I say when I say and how I say it, which you do have to have that, you do have to have a little bit of that, but you can't hammer it over people's heads, which this guy was doing, and he was not listening to any of his staff. And every time somebody said something, even when it would have helped him, he didn't listen. And it came to a point where one of the door supervisors, who was having a very hard time, they cracked under pressure, and a lot of nasty things happened, and this young lad lost his license and lost his ability to work. And this head doorman got fired. As a result of all that, the company lost the contract. And it's a shame. So let that be a lesson. Let it be a lesson that how you are as a manager and how you deal with people will ultimately decide the fate of your team, your company, and your contract. Okay, especially if you work in the business that I'm in, where you are a contractor for someone. You want to keep your business, get a good manager. Okay, become a good manager. If you want to keep your job and you want the others to keep the job, make sure you can do the job. Because believe me, bad management spells failure. So where I am ultimately at the moment, having passed my qualifications to instruct and teach, which has taught me more, I understand more, and especially assessing exactly how to bring people through, how to build people up. Finally, as a thought, where I am at the moment, I have a guard who was constantly coming up and saying, look, we've got this, this and this. And I said to him, look, I said, you're a good doorman. You've got your badge. You've got your eyes on. You know what you're doing. You know, deal with the situation. You don't need to tell me. You know what you need to be doing. Come back and let me know when you've done it. If you do need my backup, I will be there and I will help you out. And he, last couple of weeks, he has gone and done that. And I've helped him out where he needs to be. I've personally mentored him, shown him how I deal with the situation. And he has been dealing with the situations exactly the way I have and dealt with them quietly, quickly, effectively, and has become an even better guard than what he was before. There's no better feeling than seeing one of your team grow to becoming more. You should be of the opinion, and a lot of managers are very scared of this, is, oh, I don't want to be replaced by someone else. You should always be trying to build people and train people so they can become a manager themselves. If they can learn those skills, they will be able to master themselves, they will be able to do the job themselves, and they'll be able to be effective. And you should want them in a pinch if they need to step in and fulfill certain roles within their sphere of responsibility. If you are a good leader and a good manager, you will know the importance and the vital importance of having someone who is competent, who perhaps can do your job, and who will lead and follow when the time is right. Fear of being replaced is the biggest enemy of being a good manager. If you want to be a good manager, if you want to be a good leader, to recap, sit back, see how people work, get to know them, get to know the people in the company, learn from the leader, make sure you understand your role, help other people to fulfill their role, and you will grow and you will become an effective leader and have the respect of the people you lead. Can't stress it more than that, especially young people. Okay? Finally, we don't know everything. Admit it to yourself. Some things you don't know, you have to ask. If you want to be effective, ask, say, what is this? How is this? Where is this? And when it is. Take it on board. Bring it into yourself. Know your role. Help your people who you lead to know their role and move forwards. What more can I say? If you do that, you'll be successful. If not, you're doomed to make the mistakes of other bad managers. I don't want to be a bad manager. I want to be an effective, good manager that will build a team. It's as simple as that. Have a great day. Hope it makes sense to you. And, become better than what you were yesterday.